Guys, I want to tell you about a case I dealt with some years ago. This is what happened. Someone made an allegation against my client saying that my client had uttered some counterfeit monies in a particular transaction. A warrant was taken out for my client. My client was arrested, charged, brought before the court. My client maintained his innocence and he pled not guilty. He knew nothing about the transaction, as well as he thought about a potential reason or motive why this person would make this allegation against him. So he was given bail eventually and he was released. Now, here what happened further. The newspapers made a report about the particular case, as well as it was published on social media, and it started to circulate, and persons were making various comments about his personality, about him, as well as the case, and coming to some conclusions without hearing all the facts and without hearing his side, and just making conclusions based on the little information that was circulating. Now, I'll tell you exactly what happened to that case as we go through this video. But I'm seeing that happening very often these days. Persons making comments on allegations being published on social media, some very distasteful comments, and it's of concern to me. It's of concern because there is the principle of the presumption of innocence, and I think that is fading away in society, and once that fades away, criminal justice will fall. So in this video, I'm going to be speaking about that topic, the presumption of innocence. Stay tuned. When you hear about the presumption of innocence, let me just explain what that means. Say for example, a charge is placed against a person and that person maintains their innocence. In such a case, the law says that that person is to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. Well, I like to say it's innocent unless proven guilty. In other words, if this person is saying that they're innocent, we are to believe and to consider that this person did not commit the offense. I think that's a good way to look at it. Now, normally persons want to believe that this is a criminal law concept, but in fact this is a matter of life. It's a moral principle, a moral standard in life. You don't want persons to just be making allegation against you and then other persons just start to believe it without you being able to, without firstly the person proving their case against you and then you being able to defend your case accordingly. That's immoral, some persons may say it's illogical, it's unfair. As such, this is a system, a principle that exists to ensure that allegations made against other persons aren't just believed easily. Now, with that being the case, it means that whenever a person knows that they're not guilty of an offense and maintains their innocence, I would find that person as being very bold and courageous and virtuous and has morals, because they are fighting against allegations, false allegations that seem to corrupt society. And I'm going along the line now as to why. Why is this presumption of innocence important? Now, one of the major points is to prevent false allegations against an individual. And mankind is mischievous. So to prevent any sort of incorrect information and wrong allegations and so being made against an individual, the person ought to be presumed innocent. Another part is because of human nature. Human nature loves to run to judgment and condemn persons based on simple information without doing proper analysis. So to prevent that human nature within us, the presumption of innocence is given to an accused or a defendant. Another reason is to go against and to protect malicious prosecution and bad prosecution by police officers against innocent persons. Just think about this. It is quite easy for a police officer to simply write a charge against an individual and make attempts to prove their case in court. Now, there are systems in place to prevent that and to ensure that those persons are dealt with. But if it is that we are to presume a person to be guilty once they are charged by a police officer without the police officer proving their case, it's a lose-lose scenario there for sure. So that's the next reason why the presumption of innocence is important. Another reason is to prevent the abuse of power by other persons, just generally. For political reasons, for if you dislike someone, to just be making allegations against them, that person, once they are innocent and maintain that, they ought to be presumed innocent. Another major reason for me that is very dear to my heart is to protect the poor, the vulnerable, and the weak. Because allegations could be made against this group of persons and if they don't have the means and they don't go through the appropriate system, their innocence can be easily overlooked if proper systems aren't in place. So this is why persons should be treated fairly, in knowing that once they say that they are innocent and maintain that innocence, we have to presume that this person did not commit the offense until or unless otherwise is proven. Now, that presumption of innocence starts from the time that this person is being interviewed by the police officers right through the trial. And there are systems put in place to ensure that this fair trial is obtained. And I'm going to speak about this in the other part, and I'm going to tell you about the story that I started. So let's move on to my next part. Just before I continue on this topic, if you're getting value from this video, it's going to mean a lot to me if you could just hit that like button right below there. So go ahead, hit that like button right there. Let me get back to the case that I dealt with earlier. So eventually the police officers were able to get some evidence and they brought it before the court. I did my cross-examination, which means that I was able to test the credibility of the witnesses as well as the reliability of the evidence. Now listen to this. The police officers, they have the burden of proof. It's their responsibility to prove their case against the accused or the defendant. And they need to prove that beyond reasonable doubt, which means that they must make the court sure that this incident, this alleged or allegation actually happened. Now, when they did their stuff and I did my cross-examination, I was able to show the court that the evidence was unreliable and the witnesses were being untruthful, that the case was just a fabrication and there were motives behind this case actually being brought against my client. It showed that the evidence it wasn't reliable, there was contradiction, the evidence wasn't cooperating, it was really bad. And as such, the matter was dismissed and my client's innocence was confirmed. He was excited about that. I was thankful as well that his innocence was confirmed. But that wasn't published. It's public record now because it happened in court. But what was published on social media remained there. And he now had to live with those comments, etc. And it certainly had an impact on him, and that's one of the responsibilities that we have as attorneys in terms of recovery and assisting persons, guiding persons, suggesting that they possibly go to counseling or whatever because of the effects of statements made on social media. Now, I am not opposed to social media and media houses, etc. In fact, they do their job and they at times do their job in a very proper manner. What I am advocating for is more responsible reporting. If it is that a person is presumed innocent and they are saying that and they are maintaining that, one needs to be careful that what is reported, whether it be by social media houses, once it's on social media, we all need to be very responsible in knowing that the statements made there could have an impact on a person's life as life goes on. Do you want that burden to be placed on you? We also need to be mindful that we have to do unto others as we will have them do unto us. So if it is that, and God forbid, that someone is to make an allegation against you or the police officers are to charge you for a particular offense where you know that you are innocent, and then this is published on social media, how would you want persons to react? So this is my encouragement to you. Once you're on social media and you see these posts circulating, be mindful of making comments. Understand the presumption of innocence exists. Further to that, I am also encouraging and asking that my colleagues would also use social media as much as we can to educate the public, to see how we could debunk all the incorrect principles of law and to promote the law even more. There are benefits of social media, and this is one of the reasons why I'm advocating for this as well. Further to that, in addition to our personal responsibilities, be mindful of that, guys, that we need to be personally responsible for how we use social media. Further to that also, or in addition, I am advocating for the live streaming of matters in court. The courts, they've become virtual now, and I've seen in other countries where matters that are dealt with in court, they are streamed live on Facebook. And I don't see a reason why we can't do that here in the Caribbean as well. In fact, it's now going to make the court more accessible to more persons. You are going to see exactly what's happening in court and learn one or two principles as well, which empowers you. So I'm an advocate for live streaming of matters on YouTube or other platforms that take place in court. And on this channel, I am also committed to share information that will bring insight and to educate persons and empower you. So what you can do is share this video, invite other persons to this channel, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. You guys, I hope this video was of some value to you. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you in my other video. Check out some of my other videos, you guys. See you there. Take care. Presumption of innocence.